Welcome back to Country Cousins, and tonight my name's Robert Lloyd, and I'm here with Richard Graham, and tonight
Yes.
we have a great guest tonight. This is a man who built the Southwest Fresno to what it is today, starting in the 80s with the Ebenezer Community Center,
Yes.
the two-way fruit stand, and now completing a new home for the Bethel Church of God. We have Mr. Larry Burrus running for City Council in District 3. Good evening, sir.
All right, good evening.
Good evening, brother. God bless you.
Good evening.
to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, in saying all of that, we want to also say that Mr. Burgess was the real estate broker, landowner, engineer, and building contractor that drafted plans for a lot of shopping centers here. The City of Fresno Redevelopment Agency purchased the draft and land from Mr. Burgess for the construction of those shopping centers. Mr. Burgess has also built 18 units of apartments, triplexes, duplexes, and over 40 homes in Southwest Fresno, including one for Bishop Solomon Doyle. So tell us a little bit now, what are your plans as you're running for third district, running into third district for the office of city council member? What's your plan to help the folks in the community?
Well, the only way you can help the people in the community is get them jobs. So I need to continue doing the work that I'm already doing,
Right,
which is
right.
building.
Right.
And right now I have right now what I'm trying to do is establish a platform to put another 124 units of homes in Southwest
right.
Fresno. We want to start out on the West Avenue and going around.
Right.
Many people think that we're talking about taking some of the homes that's in the actual center of Southwest
Right.
Fresno. Well, that would be a devastating loss to the community and to the
Yeah.
people that's actually losing their home
Right.
because they won't be able to use those funds to replace that home.
Right. So let me ask this: that as you're doing this and you're creating these jobs, how many jobs do you expect to be able to create while, putting all this together to build this program?
Well, right now we have some people going over to Amazon.
Right.
So we're talking with them. I negotiated quite a few homes. As a matter of fact, over 100 jobs
Right.
in the shop. That's that small shopping center.
Yes, sir.
That shopping center inspired other community developments.
Right.
And so
right.
those developments is now piggybacking off the shopping center. So you have AM, PM, they've
Right.
employed.
Right.
You got their AutoZone, they've
Yes.
started employing. And because of that investment of the shopping center, you have Gaston School, which I
Right.
worked for 10 years in trying to get that school there.
Yes, sir.
But it's there, and
Right.
although the people that's actually working there is not from Southwest Fresno, or
Right.
many of them are not from District 3.
Right.
But I believe if we continue the work that we're doing,
Yes,
we
sir.
will inspire more investment. And so now we have the infrastructure in Southwest Fresno.
Yes, sir.
We have the shopping center, we have the school, the middle school, which
Right.
was absent for years. So a child can go from kindergarten through to 12th grade without ever leaving the community.
Yes, sir.
We have our own autos, we have our own service stations.
Yes.
I mean, the infrastructure in Southwest Fresno is there. All we have to do now is advance it, and the only way you can advance it is by selling access to Southwest Fresno
Right.
to investors who wants to invest their money in the Southwest Fresno. And I believe we can do that in bringing in probably a mall.
Yes.
You'd be surprised what we can do.
Yes.
And we got to continue doing the work that we're doing now.
And that's a great thing. And I think one of the problems is that the more jobs that you got, the more jobs that's created, then crime rate will decrease because a lot of the crime rate is based on a lot of people not having jobs. An idle mind puts in devil work ground. So when you're creating jobs and there's work for people to do, they don't have time to stand by and be idle. Would you agree?
Well, I definitely agree with that. As a matter of fact, some of the people have, let me put it that way, they have been deprived of a
Right.
quality education
Right.
or neglected
Right.
through the school system.
Right.
And we make them the suspect of their situation when
Yes.
actually they are a victim of their situation.
yeah.
And so because of that, no one wants them.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they can't find a job. So what I've done is made a platform that will employ those who have suffered under
Yes.
those circumstances.
Amen. So now you're running for District Office 3, the City Council members, District Office number 3, and doing that, what about one of the things a lot of people are concerned about is like infrastructure, like roads being repaired and all that when you take office. Is that on your list of things to get done?
Well, the infrastructure in the district that I'm working in is implemented. It's already done.
Right.
They're already working on that.
Okay.
So I'm not focused so much on the infrastructure
Right.
as far as road conditions.
Right.
I'm focused on the infrastructure as far as how the people in those communities can benefit.
Right.
And the only way they can benefit is they don't have to travel 4 to 5 to 10 miles out of their district to go shopping.
That's right,
They don't have
that's
to
right.
send their children on the city bus to go
Right.
to their own school.
Right.
And now we're talking about a mall, we're talking about theaters, we're talking about recreational system, and we're talking about investment.
Yes.
And that's pretty much where we're at now.
And that's really good. That's really good.
So
Yes,
if I
sir.
hear you, okay, so I want to jump in on this. I'm digging it. If I hear you right, what you're saying is we essentially you already have the framework built. It's time to create activity within it, is what it sounds like.
That's pretty much it. You're right. The infrastructure is there. Everything that a community needs is in Southwest Fresno. It's the same infrastructure that's in Southeast Fresno,
Right.
and Northeast Fresno, and Northwest Fresno.
Right.
The infrastructure is there. What do we do with it now? Do we sit there and just let it slide, or do we continue to build on it? Now, here's what I'd like to say. Why consider a person without a record, without a plan, or without a vision, or without even an idea? Why
Right.
would you consider them to put in a position to continue the work that's already in place?
That's right. That's right.
And that's very important to our to the voters.
It is. So you have to have a plan. Go ahead.
Well, what I'm curious about is you seem like a very accomplished man, and I get the idea that you definitely have experience in the community. So my curiosity is, what inspired you to take this leap to move into the political side of things and with the community versus being just on the more business and activity side?
Well, I believe the city is making, if you don't mind me moving my chair a little
Oh,
bit.
go for it,
you
man.
good.
Okay, here. I believe the city as a whole is making big mistakes. Number one is they're talking about the landlord tenancy code enforcement issue.
Right, right.
Okay, then I think when they put that on the agenda, that will destroy many communities. As a
Right.
matter, what I'm talking about is you take a person like yourself who may have a home that was inherited to you.
Right. Right.
Okay, now you have code enforcement putting in a new burden
Right.
that they have to come out and take a look at it, charge you these fees and stuff. That need to be off the board.
Right.
We just need to just continue to build and get rid of all this government overwaste. This
Right.
money that's going down the drain for no reason. That's pretty much why I got in there. When just to build a home
Right.
in the city of Fresno will run you $15,000 to $20,000 just in fees.
Yes,
has
it will.
nothing to
Yeah.
had nothing to do with the actual construction of the project.
You're right. That's 100%.
And those fees are passed on to the consumers.
Yeah. It all passed on, and can't nobody account for the money. Man.
Well, it sounds like you got a lot of experience, and what I'm digging about it is you got a lot of experience that you've seen what works and doesn't work from the actual application and practice side of it, and how it actually affects people. Where you're feeling, if I'm to show understanding it sounds like you're saying there's a lot of people from the top down that aren't actually living it, and so therefore their own policies, they're not sure of how they're applying, how they're showing up in practice. Where that you've gotten to experience that.
That's correct. I have definitely experienced it. You take a look at a community that's been neglected on purpose or deprived by
Right.
accident,
Right.
and you look at the people and you see the condition they're living in,
Right.
and like Mr. Brown was just saying, idle mind is a devil's workshop.
Yeah.
So they have nothing to do. When
Right.
I started that shopping center, one of the things that I did was negotiate with every contractor that came in there to make money on that shopping center.
Right.
And they all agreed that they would do something by allowing one or two people from that community to work on that shopping center. That inspired the community
Yes.
to come together. Then negotiated with Food Max, and I negotiated with Rite Aid.
Right.
They agreed once everything is done, they will hire from the community.
Right.
That inspired others to come in.
Yes.
So now you have a community working in their own community.
Yes.
So if you walk into Food Max, you will see the whole community working there.
Oh.
Well, let me not the whole community,
Well,
but
you
the
know,
members
yeah,
of
yeah,
their
there.
store
Right.
lives in the community
Amen.
that they work
Yes.
in. And that's
a good thing.
that. And now crime is actually falling in Southwest Fresno because you've employed the people that is unemployable.
Well, even furthermore, you have latent effects of keeping people in the community working within it, is they're all keeping their eyes out on it. They suddenly take a sense of ownership within the community. It's not outsiders coming in taking the money out to a different zip code.
Well, that's what
correct.
we had when the Veterans Home, when it was built. They had negotiated for a whole lot of outsiders to come in and run the Veterans Home down on California and Marks. Mr. Waters fought against that, and he fought to have local people from Fresno area to come in and operate the Veterans Home. That was one of his biggest fights, and I don't know. I think maybe that may be what caused him to get sick in his latter days. But he worried about that and stressed over that a lot because of the contracts that was made and the ideals that was put forth. Well, I have somebody from San Jose to drive down here, move down here to operate a Veterans Home, and they have nothing to do with it.
Well, Mr. Waters did fight for it. I mean,
Yeah.
he fought
fought
diligently for that.
Yes, he did. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go and we're going to take a break. There's a lot of music coming up. I got some old tapes that we're going to play, and my technician's going to be running those through there for a little bit. We'll be back in a little while. Not long. Be back in about 7 minutes. Y'all stick around. Don't go nowhere. Enjoy the music that's coming up, and we'll be back to talk to you more about what's going on in the community. God bless.
Neighbors, here I can.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Country Cousins Show. My name is Richard Graham with my co-host over here, Robert Lloyd, and with the gentleman in the middle, Mr. Larry Burgess. All right. Now, I just want to say hello to my dear cousins down there in Los Angeles area. Sonia Savage, who's watching the show down there. And we're also going live on Facebook. So if you happen to miss something, you can catch us. And if tomorrow, cause tonight or tomorrow, if you didn't watch the show tonight, you can see the show tomorrow and starting on Monday on YouTube channel. And then all you got to do is put in a date, May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo Day, May the 5th, 2018. And bam, we're right there at you, looking at you. So everybody, welcome back to the show. And we're going back. Here we go. We're getting ready to get started. Just want to say that. Don't think I'm lost, though. I'm not really not really. So, Robert and Mr. Burgess, it's good to have you with us again, sir. You know, it's always a pleasure to have folks coming in the studio working with us. Now, so tell us a little bit about your ideals moving forward with your plans.
My plans is really development. It's develop that community. As a matter of fact, what I'm trying to do is actually change how the community looks.
Right.
I really want to make a major change in how that community looks. Here's what I want a child 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 years old to look out their window and see how they can put themselves in tomorrow's society. Something that's never been done.
Yes.
And if I can do that and put a smile on their parents' face,
Yes.
then I know that the Father is blessing me.
Amen. Amen. Robert, you got a question?
Well, it seems like he kind of preemptively struck at it. I was going to ask him, I was like, well, what's your vision for the community? I know we talk a lot about mechanics of it, but I think you kind of hit it on there a little bit. I'm not sure if there's anything missing or anything that comes to your mind when I ask that question, but what would be like if there's a picture that comes to mind for people, like my community, what do you stand for in this community?
Well, I stand for development and growth. I also stand for moral conduct. You know, when I take a look at the community,
Right.
The members in that community represent the community. So if we don't address or attack the moral concept or the moral fiber of the community, which means the guys wearing their pants too low and the girls wearing their dresses too high, then everything that I'm doing will pretty much become null.
Right.
Because what I'm doing now is moving to the area of selling the community to investors and bringing more investment into the community. It took, I got $50 million went into that community with the investments that we have in there now. Now I want to move that to $100 million.
Right.
To do that, investors are looking at the community and they're looking at the members of the community because the members are the participants in that community, and that's how they'll make their money off the members in the community. But if the members of the community doesn't respect themselves, let me put it that way.
That's a good way to put it.
And then you have a problem trying to sell the community to investors to bring in shopping malls, to bring in more development into the community.
Right, and that's a good thing because see, and what happens is our children, those that's in the community, have no self-respect. They don't respect themselves. And one of the things I learned about this was like, the Bible says that you need to love yourself. First of all, you have to find out how to love yourself sometime, because a lot of us don't know. You can run around buying love and showing love to other folks, but you can be without love in yourself. And if you don't love yourself, a lot of times, then you can't work with the people that's in front of you, because there is an element in you saying, do this, do that, do this, do that. And then you doing it not out of love, but you're doing it out of spite. See? So in that sense, our children and the children that's coming on, the people that want to be in the community, working with them, getting them straightened out, help getting them an education, and making things better for them, showing them how they're already stressed out with the point of that nobody actually cares about us, we can't do this, or we can't match somebody else over here. But you can. You have a mind to learn. Your education is high. You just need the opportunity.
Well,
and what you create in the jobs in the community gives them a point and a reason to learn to study, to be productive in the community.
well, the jobs are for the adults.
Right.
Let's put it that way. The jobs are for the adults.
Right.
And if the adults become successful, their children that's coming behind them will see the success of their parents.
Right.
Then that will motivate them to want to
Right.
be something for themselves.
That's 100%.
But if the parents are neglected themselves, which means they're not
That's right.
successful,
Uh-huh.
and they're walking around with their pants down, and
Right.
the children's coming behind them, and they are the examples
Right.
that's leading them,
Yes.
then he said, then there is no hope for that child.
That's right.
So
That's
helping
100%,
helping the actual parent itself.
Yes.
And that's why we need a parenting class, because a lot of people think that
100%.
they're good parents.
Right.
We're not really truly understanding what parenting is.
That's right.
And if you're suffering today and your children are suffering in the school system, which means that the actual schools are sending them home,
Right.
constantly sending them home, then there's a problem somewhere. So we have to, somehow or another, we're going to have to work something out where we have to mandate parenting to some members of our community.
Yes. That's
And break
100%.
that cycle.
Yes.
We may have to step over the parents
Right.
and just reach the child and bring the child out of that condition
Yes.
with the system.
Right.
He said, because if the child can motivate, we can get that child motivated enough where they want to be something in the community,
Right.
want to be something in life. I think we're doing a good job.
No, I
How-
think you really hit something like that, because what I'm digging about this is you're talking about something I don't hear out there, which is the idea of you're acknowledging that the value of a community is in the future for the kids, and
Yes.
it's thrown around a lot, but you actually created a nuts and bolts explanation of how to actually manifest that, because in a way it's like, if there's no potential, there's a whole bunch of studies on this. There's a gentleman that did a bunch of studies on Chicago, and it talks about, well, a lot of it comes on if there's no vision for a potential future, the youth only have their, how would you say, reputation to work on. And
Right.
anytime, keeping it real is all you got, it always goes south.
That's
So,
correct.
but if you have a future to aim for, that's going to be in line to guide your behaviors and action in a more positive manner for the
Yes.
society around you. And you actually created a intuitively or otherwise, you actually kind of explained a way to create that environment to support that.
Well, here it is. I have a plan. Number one is I am planning for the future of that community.
Yes.
Others are running for city council.
Right.
That's
right.
a job.
Yes, that's the job.
He said, but if you look at their platform,
Right.
they have no record, no plan,
Right.
no ideas, no vision.
Okay.
They're just running.
Yes.
And if the people put them in office, that will stagnate the development and growth that I'm doing.
Right.
It will reverse some of the things that I'm doing if they don't know what to do.
Right. Right.
And so it is very important that the community come out and vote. And I hope and pray
It
that
is,
they
yes.
actually vote for me
Yes.
because I'm moving them forward. I'm planning for them because they may not understand or know how to plan.
Right.
So I'm planning for their future, I'm planning for their children's future, and I'm planning for their grandchildren's future.
Yes.
If I don't plan for their future, there's a good chance that some of them will lose their lives because no one planned for them.
That's right. It's 100%. Yeah. And again, like I say, all of mine come from the Bible. So God was planning for us. That's why I say this. God was planning for us in long term. So that's why I look at the picture and say the things that I say, because when God was planning for us, we wasn't even thought of. And he continued to plan. And he continued to help us progress and things to take place that we may be here. So we're doing the same thing for those who's coming, that when you take office, Lord willing, everything goes good, and you take office, you'll be able to plan for the people that's here and plan for their children to come afterwards to support you in that field.
Well, that's correct. Because
Yeah.
my first thing is I need to involve the whole community. We
Right.
need to sit down and figure out what direction do they want me to go. Because when I
Right.
take that seat, I'm actually taking the seat that they own, which means
Yes.
that community or that district actually owns me,
Right.
as long as I'm sitting in that seat.
Yes.
And we need to know what direction we need to go.
Right.
I have a plan. My plan they may look at it and say, you know, Larry, you need some work on this plan. But the fact is, I do have a plan.
Yes, that's most
When I take a
important.
look at the other candidates, they have zero plan. They have no plans. As a matter of fact, they're having a difficult time marketing themselves in the
Yes.
community.
Yes.
And so if you're having a difficult time marketing yourself, that tells me not only you don't have a plan, you can't plan.
That's
So
it.
if you can't plan and the people need a planner, someone to begin to plan for you. And if they're planning for you, they're going to end up taking things from the people.
Yeah.
Well, even
Okay.
furthermore, you tapped on something that I haven't heard ever in any political stance, which is the idea of your initial plan involves the community's opinion.
Yes.
You're actually, your whole pitch up here has been that you've been actually involved in getting feedback from the bottom of where it's actually affected.
Yeah, you have no choice.
Yeah.
Because if I plan without the community's
You have no
input,
choice. I get that.
yeah, I
Seems
mean,
obvious,
because
but
what
it doesn't seem in
happens
practice
is,
as
yeah,
of late.
what happens is you'll start planning, and the people start balking against your plan unless you involve them.
Yeah.
Now they may go along with the plan, but if you don't never involve them in the plan, then eventually you'll have some come out, and then before you know it, you have picket signs. We didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
You know,
that's right.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's what Trump is going through.
Well, again, brother, God bless you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
And I thank you for inviting me. It's,
Well,
it's
bet
not
you had
all
a
the
good
time.
time. Yes,
I
sir.
did have a good time.
Anytime
Yes.
you want to come on, man.
Yeah, anytime you want to come back and be on the show, just let us know. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to another video from some of my old days. Hope you are enjoying the show this evening. Stick with us. We'll be back in just in a little bit, and we'll talk to you then.